Here's a question. What if you knew that December 25th, Christmas Day, was the day that you were going to wake up dead? Our life would have to change, right? The way we would live Advent would have to change. If you want to join me every day of this upcoming Advent from December 1st to December 25th, go to ascensionpress.com/FatherMikeAdvent. To join, download the Ascension app today. Years ago, we have a household on campus, at St. John household. Mm-hmm. So 6 or 7 women live in this household. And one year, a bunch of years ago, some of them really had a devotion to St. Catherine of Siena and just loved her. She was their confirmation saint. And at one point, I remember them calling or texting because there was a big emergency. SOS, get over to the house. Yeah. Like, okay, what is it? Well, one of them had started reading a book that was, the theory of the book was that here's St. Catherine of Siena, who died at an early age, young age. She had heavy fasts and all these kind of penances. But the theory was that she did all these fasts and penances not because she was holy, but because she had an eating disorder.
Interesting.
And that she had some kind of that, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And that one of our students a couple of maybe, that was one of their wounds.
Oh, okay.
And so this sense of like, wait a second, we thought she was holy. We thought that St. Catherine of Siena was the amazing, incredible saint. But maybe she had this eating disorder, and that actually led to an early death. And so they were just like kind of freaked out. Like we thought she was a hero instead of being this broken person. Yeah. And what do we do? And I'm like, so I reached out to my spiritual director, because this is so many years ago. I know better now. I reached to my spiritual director, and I'm just like, Father, what do you think? What would you say?
Yeah.
That they say that she died with this eating disorder. It actually contributed to her early death. And he said, so God made her holy in the midst of her wounds. And God made her holy in the midst of her weakness. Yeah. He didn't have to take it away in order for her to be Saint Catherine of Siena. There's no actual evidence that was something that she experienced. This is someone's projecting on her.
Sure.
But even if it were true, that God can make us holy even without fixing us.
Yes.
It would mean that she allowed God to love her in her brokenness. Yes. She allowed God to love her and use her and be close to her. That's what it sounds like you're saying, is that, okay, God, here is the shadow. Here's the broken in my heart. I once again surrender it to you. Is that accurate? Is that ongoing?
That's
bringing this before the Lord.
And that's really what St. Paul says. I was given a thorn in my flesh. And I think we love theoretical poverty in other people. Right. We're like, oh, just let God love you there. But our own poverty, we're like, ooh. And my spiritual director, who's so wonderful, I've known him forever, and he said, sister, your poverty is the seedbed of God's glory.
Yeah.
Your poverty is the seedbed. And we're talking the real stuff that we don't want anyone to know about ourselves, like the real stuff where we're like, oh, why do I keep doing that? Or what is that tendency? And it's in those very places. I mean, I don't know, but those places bring me to my knees, literally. I'm like, Lord, I can't fix myself, and this is mortifying to me, Lord, and I don't know what to do sometimes, and I do what I don't want to do, and I don't do what I want to do. I don't know what to do. And that's the common lot of our human nature, our fragmented human nature. And in those very places, the Lord, in those places where maybe other people have shamed us or minimized or didn't want to be with us there in communion, those are the very places where Jesus comes to bring us into communion. It is St. Peter by the second charcoal fire, where in his deepest shame, the Lord draws close. And that kind of love, Father, like that is so disarming, and it's so reparative and so healing. Like that's the kind of love we want to face before we die, because that's the kind of love that we're going to experience the rest of eternity, is that kind of encompassing love, a love that knows everything and a love that loves. And that is the real stuff. Like,
well, so you said that's the kind of love we have to face, because that's what we'll face when we die.
Yes.
And that's what this Advent is meant to be about, is that sense of, okay, how do I live this Advent in such a way that I'm actually prepared to see the Lord face to face? So healing involves or means bringing my brokenness, my shame to the Lord and letting him see me as I am.
Yes.
How do I do that when forgiveness is, like we talk about forgiveness today.
Sure. How
would I do that when either I haven't received God's forgiveness or haven't offered God's forgiveness? Is it even possible? Mm-hmm. And if it's not, what do I need to do? Yeah. And it's kind of a pivot corner.
Sure. Yeah, I think all of us have those places, but I think that part of our journey is coming to a decision. And so part of what we're going to talk about is a choice that we make. And we talk about choice. I know you talk about choices a lot, that you and I have a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions that take us a lot of different places. But what is what is the choice? What is the Holy Spirit inviting me to in my life? And most beautifully, that our passions, we usually do follow along when our intellect and our wills are healed, our passions follow along, but that you and I can choose forgiveness, and you and I can choose the path of healing, whether we feel it or not. And I learned a great prayer many years ago that we can actually ask for the willingness to be willing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of like, Lord, I don't, like even right now, so maybe we're thinking about somebody that we're going to see this Advent season or something in our life that we're not proud of. Like, Lord, I don't know what to do, but give me the willingness to be willing to allow you to love me, Lord. I don't know what the next right step is, Lord, but please bring me. And the Lord is faithful to that.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes we don't want the next step that he brings us, but I think even just opening our heart and allowing ourselves to feel, not just to intellectually call to mind, but all right, what's happening in my life? What are my pressing symptoms? What is my area of distress? Is there a rupture in my family? Are there things that I don't want to talk about, things I don't want to face? Because that affects everything in our life. And you and I know well, when we're living an authentic, transparent life, we relate to people differently, relate to God differently. And then when we start to hide things, or where there's areas of our life that we've closed the door on and we say, it's in the past, but the past doesn't stay in the past. It's always bleeding into the present. And so yeah, kind of like the spiritual masters say, Father Jacques Philippe says, the spiritually mature person asks, how will I respond now? Not, why is this happening to me? Okay, here's the things that have happened to us. Here's what our family's facing. Here's where I'm at this Advent season. How will I respond? How will I respond now? And that choice is continually ours. Yeah.
Wow.